Alright, now we're going to be reacting to the Diary of a Wimpy Kid Theory by Alex Bell. The production of the video looked very good by, like, the thumbnail. It just looked very good. Like, it looked like it was a very good video. I'm really interested in what this theory is. I've seen some very interesting things. Also, holy flashbang, I can't fucking see. Anyways, let's just get this started, bro. I don't know what to expect.
There is a single page in the first Diary of a Wimpy Kid book that, at first glance, seems completely normal.
Dude, I remember reading all of the Diary of a Wimpy Kid books, bro. I used to love this in my, I used to love these books when I was younger, bro. Like, there's no way there could be a theory that bad, right? Right, bro?
There's something on this page that, once you see it, will forever change the way you look at these books. There's a genuinely unnerving implication here that I don't think anyone has ever talked about before.
Dude, he's making this sound like the worst thing ever.
That smell.
I knew that door had a lock on it!
Maybe said you're going to have an accident.
What the f-
Zooey Mama. Hi there. Diary of a Wimpy Kid is
What?
a classic children's book series.
Yo, nah, this guy just made, like, the scariest thing, and then he goes, Zooey Mama. Are we serious? Are we genuinely serious, bro?
About a narcissistic kid named Greg Heffley who believes one day he'll be famous.
The only reason I agreed to write in this thing is because when I'm rich and famous, I'll have better things to do than answer people's stupid questions all day long.
But until then, he's stuck in middle school dealing with his crazy
I read the
family
books,
and the weird
bro.
kids at
You don't gotta
school.
recap.
Wanna see my secret freckle?
This theory is not going to be about Fregley, by the way. I don't think I'm capable of figuring out what's going on with him.
Oh,
They've
yeah,
gone on to
no.
make 20 books, 4 Rowley spin-offs, and 7 movie adaptations, and there are no signs of them ever slowing down.
Wait, hold on. Let me pick the ones I've read here. I read the OG, of course. Roderick Rules, Dog Days, Hard Luck, Cabin Fever, I think. I did do Old School, Double Down, Big Shot, Diaper Overload. I think that's all the ones I read. I can't really see the one here. I didn't read any of these. I did see this and this. Not Dog Days. I didn't really see any of these other movies except for these first two, but yeah.
And the weird thing about this is that not only do these books get a lot more cartoony and unrealistic as they go along,
that's true.
But by book 20, Greg is still in middle school. He never ages.
Oh, yeah.
And look, I know this is a thing that happens in a lot of different media about kids in school, but the thing that's interesting about Diary of a Wimpy Kid is that the books themselves are constantly acknowledging it.
But for now, I'm stuck in middle school with a bunch of morons. To be honest,
Okay, what? Like, I feel like this isn't anything terrible, bro. What could this theory possibly be? Like, yes, he's not aging, but that's kind of just because they're keeping it as a journal as for a middle schooler. What could possibly be such a bad theory about just not aging, a not aging middle schooler for a specific series?
with you, I feel like I've been stuck in middle school forever.
'Cause you
I
have
looked
been.
in the mirror, but everything looked exactly the same as it always does.
We got kids like me who haven't hit their growth spurt yet, mixed in with gorillas who have to shave twice a day.
From the start, these diaries have been drawing attention to the fact that Greg doesn't age, which
True.
makes me feel like there might be some kind of in-universe explanation for it. And look,
Maybe.
I promise this is not going to be another edgy, oh, Greg is actually dead theory.
I know, bro.
No, I think there's actually a much simpler explanation.
Okay, good, bro.
These books are not the objective truth. They are diaries written by an egotistical sociopath who is constantly lying to make himself look better. Greg is the definition
Okay.
of an unreliable narrator.
So,
That is not how I perceived him when I was younger. I didn't perceive him as a sociopath, an egotistical sociopath. Whew. I mean, I'd never really looked at it like that. He could have been one. I just never really saw it like that when I was younger. But, okay, interesting.
for all we know, Greg is aging normally, but for whatever reason, he's just choosing to lie about it in his diaries. That's the
true.
most logical in-universe explanation.
True.
Or, that's at least what I thought, until I found a very strange detail on page 122 of the first Diary of a Wimpy Kid book. A page that forever changed the way that I look at these diaries.
Okay, it must have been substantial. Oh, this is what he was showing in the beginning. What is so bad about this? I need to hear this. I give mom and dad their gifts. I get them the same kind of thing every year, but parents eat that stuff up. There's little, I don't know what that is. It's just a gift. Number 1 dad. Can how would this genuinely be bad? Okay, I need to hear his explanation for this.
This page, Greg talks about giving his parents the same gifts for Christmas every year. I gave Mom and Dad their gifts. I get them the same kind of thing every year, but parents eat that stuff up. And then we see a drawing of Greg giving his parents their gifts. Do you see anything wrong with this? Look very closely.
Hold on. I'm gonna look close. I want to see if there's anything wrong. I mean, the only thing I can think of is like... I mean, it says like he gets the same gifts for his mom and dad every year. Which means like... I don't know. That could mean... I'm clueless right now. I genuinely have no clue what's so special about this.
Greg believes that his parents eat that stuff up, but in the drawing, his parents are clearly unhappy with their gifts. The drawing contradicts Greg's opinion, which means Greg couldn't have written this page. Wait a second. Is Greg not the author of his diaries?
Is that not, like, fucking obvious? I mean, oh. Well, no shit! It's a book. It's obviously gonna be written by an author. It's written in a third person. It's not actually the person in there is not real. I mean, but if it's written, like, say his journal was written by a different author inside of the book, that's where it gets confusing. I'm not gonna lie. Huh.
Okay, so obviously I know that Jeff Kinney is the real author of these books.
Okay, yeah, this is what I was getting at. Like, Jeff Kinney is the author of the book, and he's not. He's the one who wrote the journal. But, like, I feel like there's a different, like, way to perceive it.
And all of this is just fictional. But I'm saying, in the universe of Diary of a Wimpy Kid, what if someone else is writing these diaries pretending to be Greg?
Have you ever noticed...
See, that's what I was kind of, like, thinking of what it could be. Like, it could be someone pretending to be Greg, or in the universe of it, it's not actually him writing it, which is kind of crazy, Loki.
How the diaries are constantly cutting to other perspectives when Greg isn't around. We've kind of just had to assume that Greg either heard about these things after the fact, or maybe he was just exaggerating, but sometimes they really feel like they're telling us things that Greg wouldn't know.
That's true.
Mom likes to rent these romantic comedies, and she makes Dad watch
Oh my
them.
god, that's right. I'm also getting flashbang, the fuck, anyways, that's true though, like, it's noting stuff in his journal that he wouldn't know. Like, how is he gonna know that his parents watch romantic comedies in their own room? He doesn't see them watching it. He never really had an encounter of seeing them watching. It's just kind of stuff he shouldn't know. But it's his own journal. Which is kind of weird in, like, the Diary of a Wimpy Kid universe.
But I know Dad is just waiting for the first chance to break away and go back down.
Like, how does he know that?
How does Greg know this? I mean, who else but Frank would know what he was secretly thinking about in this moment? This doesn't feel like something he would tell his son about later. In fact, these books are full of moments like this that
That's
feel
true.
like they're specifically from Greg's dad's perspective.
Oh, what if it was his dad writing it? And what if Greg died? Oh no! Now think about it. What if Greg died and this was wait, this is my theory. What if Greg died, but this is all because since he never ages and it's all from middle school, what if Greg died in middle school, like late middle school, and his dad is noting all of he's writing down everything in Greg's life as maybe a memory, and he's trying to keep the memory as why there's so many books. I mean, that's the only thing I can think of, because it's not in Greg's perspective. He's not the one writing his journal, and it's in his dad's perspective. He knows the dad's thinking is in the book, right? So I think I don't know. I just think the dad could be writing. He could have died, and the dad could be writing the journal and trying to keep the memory. I don't know.
Perspective. Greg even claims at the start of Third Wheel that he can remember things from when he was in his mother's womb, and the things he remembers do feel kinda accurate, but wouldn't it make way more sense if these were actually Frank's memories from when his wife was—
True. I mean, you obviously can't remember things from the womb. It's not possible, right? And, I mean, Frank would be near his wife, and, like, he would know... Well, he would actually have the memory.
pregnant?
What if Frank is the real author of the diaries? What if these are books that Frank is writing based on his son's life for some unknown reason? And it's okay if you're not fully on board yet, because I didn't really take this seriously either until I found something insane.
I gotta see this, bro.
At the start of Dog Days, we are told that there is a newspaper comic called Lil Cutie
I remember
that Frank
this.
and Greg read together every day. And we find out that Lil Cutie is a comic series that was written by a father based on his son. Look at these two drawings on the same page. You can't tell me they aren't trying to frame Frank and Greg in the exact same way as the Lil Cutie author and his son. And that's not even the craziest part, because on the very next page it
Oh my
says,
god.
I guess now that the real Lil Cutie is all grown up, his dad's having trouble coming up with new material. His dad's having trouble coming up with new material. Is this not exactly what we've been talking about this whole time? The diaries get cartoonier and Greg never ages because now that his son is grown up, Frank is out of new material.
Oh my
and he's forced to
god.
just make stuff up. We even find out in Old School that Frank had a very similar childhood to Greg. He also had a best friend like Rowley, a dog, and two brothers that annoyed him. So maybe some of Greg's middle school stories are actually based on Frank's childhood memories.
Yeah, maybe these aren't even, like, Greg's memories. It's probably just based off Frank's. Like, Frank probably made his life and tried to compare it to his son's life. Like, he probably tried to make it seem as if that was Greg's life. I was thinking that Greg could have either been dead, or it's probably just Greg's either grown up now. But Greg, like, he can't use Greg's, like, newer stories, because this is when he was in middle school, because he never ages. This is only from his middle school journals. But it's being made up by his dad and is running out of new material.
Greg, we're a lot alike.
Everything here fits perfectly.
Now, if you still don't believe me, then I have one final question for you. A question that's been right in front of our faces this entire time, but we never thought to ask it before now. Why are these books called Diary of a Wimpy Kid?
Why are these books called Diary of a Wimpy Kid? Wait a minute. Diary of a Wimpy Kid. I mean, that's why. Like, it could be in the third-person perspective. Like, his dad would name it Diary of a Wimpy Kid. Maybe he was calling his son a Wimpy Kid, and he's trying to keep it in that, like, third perspective. Honestly, that could be why. I'm not sure, honestly, why it's called that, but it could just be in, like, a third-person perspective for his dad.
Why would Greg, someone who is consistently shown as narcissistic and egotistical...
Oh, yeah, why would he call himself a wimpy kid when he's narcissistic and egotistical? He wouldn't call himself wimpy. Wait.
ever refer to himself as Wimpy? Greg has an extremely high opinion of himself. That's like his main thing.
True.
But you know who does think Greg is wimpy?
His dad.
His dad.
Dad
Oh
was
my
pretty mad at me
gosh.
for letting myself get bullied by a kid who was still in kindergarten. When Dad saw it, he said it was a girl bike and I should get rid of it. Dad said there was no way he was getting me a dollhouse. So yes, I believe for whatever reason, Greg's dad decided to write the
Oh
Diary
my
of a Wimpy Kid
God.
books. And just like with Little Cutie, it ended up becoming a huge financial success, leading to a whole series of books and even a handful of movies.
I always figured they'd make a movie about my life, but I didn't think they'd start the story here.
I always figured they'd make a movie about my life.
Oh
this
my
line
God.
implies that these are in-universe movies based on the diaries. And Greg did actually become famous like he always wanted, but what if it's because his father decided to create a best-selling book series about his life?
And
Oh my
that is
gosh.
my Diary of a Wimpy Kid theory.
This isn't even done, but, like, that's insane, bro. That is such a good theory. the knowledge you have to do to like compose that together, just compose those thoughts. I mean, it's genuinely insane how you like compose the idea of this theory. I could never have caught that, especially when I was younger. I never suspected that. I mean, maybe now if I read it, but like I don't think even if I read it, I'd be able to see anything wrong with it or be able to compose a theory like this. It's genuinely, you have to be very educated to like think of something like this.
Case closed. Yep, I'm pretty sure we wrapped up everything.
No, there's 20
I
minutes.
know I always say that, and then there's like a big surprise plot twist in these videos, but like this time we're done for sure. I mean, you can just leave. We're all done. Don't look at the runtime of this video.
Yeah, we have 20 minutes.
Okay, so I genuinely wanted to end the theory here.
Yeah, I feel like it should end here. What more could there be?
There's a scene in the first Diary of a Wimpy Kid movie that I can't stop thinking about. Oh, it because I promised I wasn't gonna do this, but
He still did it.
just take a look for yourself.
I want to see this. What's the scene?
I was right. You're not even gonna make it out of there alive. The only chance you have making the yearbook is when they dedicate it to your memory.
What is that supposed to
The
mean?
only chance you'll have of making the yearbook is if they dedicate it to your memory.
Wait.
Wait a second. Could that be what these movies are? Did Frank write these diaries because Greg is dead? Oh, what the fuck?
Oh, that's what I was saying! Wait, my theory's adding up. Oh my god. Wait, my theory's deadass adding up. I said that Greg might be dead and he's like writing these journals as memory of Greg. And this, again, like this scene is talking about Greg and like only time of making the yearbook was if it was dedicated to him, to his memory. Which is implying that he could be dead and it's just a memory of him, which his dad's writing the journals as it's just a memory. Oh my god, we might have actually got the theory.
I know, I promised I wasn't gonna do another they were dead the whole time theory, but I swear, this is not your usual edgy run-of-the-mill Greg's in purgatory.
Oh my gosh.
There's something to this. And I know people have already suggested this before, but what I have never seen anyone talk about is the fact that there are so many moments in these movies that talk about Greg like he is dead or going to die.
I never saw
You'll be dead or
those.
homeschooled by the end of the year anyway.
You're not even gonna make it out of there alive.
He will kill you. Literally kill you.
You're dead.
Move over. I'm dying. He'll kill me.
Oh my god.
Why don't kill me if she knows we're here?
You're so freaking dead.
I'll die.
You can't call if you're dead.
You can kill me.
She's gonna kill
Yeah,
both
there's
of us.
countless scenes of him just death. Countless scenes of just death being mentioned. Like that refers to, that could be hinting or indicating that Greg could have died and he's just a memory, bro. Oh my gosh.
Mom would kill us. You are so dead.
Greg, you are so dead!
Goodbye, Gregory. You will always be remembered.
When they dedicate it to your
Remembered memory.
Like, I'm not crazy, right? That's a weird amount of references
That's
to
true.
Greg's death.
That is a
And
lot.
remember, these are the same movies that decided to unambiguously tell us that Greg is famous enough to get a movie made about him.
I always figured they'd make a movie about my life.
Maybe they're also telling us the reason why, and these are just actors portraying someone who tragically passed away. And it's not just the movies either. In Dog Days, when Greg is talking about reading in school, he says this very interesting line. I'm not really sure what makes a book a classic to begin with, but I think it has to be at least 50 years old, and some person or animal has to die at the end.
That could be implying that Greg, the main character, could have died at the end. I mean, this is probably his father writing this, and it's probably saying that Greg could have died at the end of the series, or the end of like whatever book. And at least 50 years old, that could also be implying that his father's like writing it, and you have to be at least like 50 to do it. I don't know.
And then later on, when he has to read Charlotte's Web, he says, just from looking at the cover, I guarantee either the girl or the pig doesn't make it to the end.
Yeah, why is it always talking like that?
Look, I know I might be going off the rails here, but wouldn't it be so tragically ironic if Greg actually did become as famous as he wanted, but it was only because of his death?
I always figured they'd make a movie about my life, but I didn't think they'd start the story here.
That's why they adapted the diaries into movies. That's why he's always been stuck in middle school. And that is the real reason why his father decided to write a book series about him, to keep his memory alive.
And look, it's okay if you're not fully on board yet, because
this is all adding up. Like, genuinely, I feel like this all has added up perfectly. It's all connecting my brain. Like, I feel like this theory is so accurate. It's probably, it's a theory. It's not possible, or it's not guaranteed this is true. It's not guaranteed this is false either. The odds of this being true are very low, but, like, this is still very, like, accurate, no?
I've still got some really big evidence. But before we get into that, I want to take a look at how I think the real Greg Heffley might have died. And just a warning, this will probably sound like a lot of random speculation at first, but I promise it'll all come together in the end.
Okay. I like that. The fire?
Going back to the movie that told us about Greg's fame and possible death, there's a scene where Roderick tells Greg and Rowley a scary story about a nearby forest called Devil Worshipper Woods.
There used to be this house. They had to tear it down because what happened there was so terrible. 2 kids who were, I don't know, maybe in middle school. They trick-or-treated that house on Halloween night. But the house was full of devil worshippers.
Roderick tells them about a house that abducted children and cooked.
I mean, it kind of just sounds like a made-up story, not gonna lie, but, you know, it's not guaranteed to be false. It could be true.
Them in an oven, but that ultimately led to an accidental fire that burned down the house with everyone inside.
But they forgot to turn off the ovens, so the house burned down with everyone in it.
Now, this is obviously just a story Roderick is making up to scare Greg. They even go to the woods later and only see Fregley.
Alright, bro.
Guys?
But what if there's a nugget of truth to this story? Because later in Roderick Rules, we briefly see a newspaper that seems to be talking about some kind of fire.
Whoa.
And in the books, there are several references to house fires, including an instance where Greg actually accidentally causes one in their home.
Yeah, this one doesn't really adding up.
Insane deleted scene from the 3rd movie where Manny ominously talks about an accident.
You threw Tingy away.
Well, it was an accident.
Tingy says you're going to have an accident.
Yeah, I see why they deleted that scene. There are a lot of weird references to some kind of accident or house fire throughout the franchise. What if these are hints about how Greg actually died? But if so, when and how did this happen? Well,
yeah, like, I don't know if he died before the first book was, like, written. I don't know if it started off with his dad writing it in as a memory. I don't know if it happened, like, during the series. I want to see if there's, like, a pointer in that.
Here's my theory. In Roderick Rules, Roderick throws a party when their parents and Manny go out of town.
Yep, I remember that.
Anybody over this weekend?
He tells Greg that he can join the party, but ends up locking him in the basement instead.
I need chairs from the basement.
I remember this.
Yeah, and it's staying closed. I don't need a middle schooler ruining my party.
Roderick!
Now, in the movie, Greg is able to escape and join the party, but in the books, Greg is trapped there all night, and he says that it was so cold that he practically froze to death. But the next day, he gets out, and they quickly clean up before their parents come home. They even have to replace one of their doors, but they do finish in time.
See? Told you it'd work.
I don't like where this is going.
What the diary says about their parents' reactions when they first get home. Mom and Dad's car rolled into the driveway right when we were tightening the last screw. You could tell they were pretty relieved the house hadn't burned down when they were away. Interesting. Another very specific reference to an accidental
that's
house
true.
fire. Again, that's weird, but obviously there was no actual fire here. I mean, in every version of the story, there's a crazy party, and Greg gets trapped in the basement, but the house never burns down. But what if it did. Remember, this diary, and by extension the movies based on them, are unreliable narrators, possibly written by a grieving father who wants to keep the memory of his son alive. So we don't know for sure what actually happened when Greg was locked in that basement all night. The basement that Frank has warned them to stay out of. The basement that Greg was practically freezing to death in with no source of warmth.
Whoa.
Except, that's not entirely true, because we also know that the basement is the house's furnace room. So what if Greg...
What? The basement is the furnace room. So he can't be freezing to death. Whoa, that's insane.
tried to get warmer by messing with the furnace, but instead he ended up accidentally starting a deadly house fire. Yes, I believe that Greg never actually left that basement, and everything after this page is a complete and total lie.
Okay, that's a big claim, I know. And I did warn you, this would sound like a lot of random speculation.
Honestly, I fuck with
do
that.
actually have the evidence to back it up.
To start off,
I want to see his
remember that
evidence.
newspaper that mentioned a fire? Well, Greg gets it as he's cleaning up the party. And it mentions the fire happening at 6 a.m. when Greg still would have been freezing in the basement.
Oh my gosh.
And also, look at what happens immediately after this page in the movie.
Alright, let me see.
So much trouble.
She's gonna kill both of us.
Greg and Roderick are unambiguously depicted as dead. This theory also explains why a lot of the death references also include Roderick.
Oh my god.
Mom would kill us, and I am a dead man.
Since he would likely be a victim of the fire as well.
The house
I mean, I feel like it's coincidental that, like, there's a lot of terms that are saying, like, oh, we're dead, you know. It was probably just, like, a term that was used overly in, like, the script writing. They probably didn't overthink it. But the house burning down definitely isn't really coincidental. That is pretty... I feel like they knew what they were doing when using that term a lot. And it's definitely hinting towards a potential death.
down with everyone in it.
Frank even describes the smell of Roderick's room as unidentifiable.
What is that smell? I can't even identify it.
But the real reason why I think this fire theory is so compelling is because of the very strange way that Frank starts to act when he gets home. Yes, that is correct. I am finally going to talk about the thing that has been all over TikTok for the past year.
Oh, let's go, man.
Depiction of Frank.
Oh yeah, I saw that, bro.
Me! I'm the laugher! Ah! I knew that door had a lock.
I remember these memes, bro.
Losing my mind!
Dude, those memes were all over TikTok. I'm actually curious to see, like, if it's true or not. Like, what is Frank's side of this? We haven't even really... We've been seeing, like, oh, Frank was probably the one writing it, but, like... What is more of Frank's, like, reaction to it? Like, why did he decide to keep it going? Why did he keep deciding to write the journals?
I am far from the first person to notice this, but in the Diary of a Wimpy Kid movies, Frank acts legitimately insane. To the point where it's
That's
kind of
true.
become a meme to joke about him being this serial killer guy that might have killed his family.
Hey, how about then, no video games and no television for the rest of the summer?
Dad, no!
I stopped laughing. I stopped.
Yeah, what the...
Who's the laugher now? Me! I'm the laugher! I'm the laughingest laugher that ever laughed!
But the thing that's interesting to me that I haven't seen anyone talk about
Oh my
is
God.
that Frank doesn't really start to act like this until after the Roderick Rules party. when
Yeah,
he
that's true,
becomes
I'm not gonna lie.
extremely paranoid and starts to believe that something's wrong with the house.
So, who came over this weekend?
Yeah, no, he was so paranoid after the party, bro. He was suspecting everything. Like, even though he didn't know the party happened, I don't think so. Like, he was still so suspective, and it was really weird. Like, I don't know, he's acting definitely very weird after that happened.
What the?
guys got something you want to tell me?
What was General Grant doing on the thermostat?
He acts this way in the
he's
books
acting
too,
really
but in
weird.
the movies, he really acts like he's losing his sanity over the little inconsistencies in the house.
I know that door had a lock on it, and everybody was trying to make me feel like I was losing my mind.
This roller skating kid is really good. Don't you think that is good?
What if what we're actually seeing is Frank having some kind of mental breakdown because he couldn't handle the reality of coming home to find his house had burned down with both of his children inside?
Yeah, he probably was losing his
Can't
mind.
even identify it.
I think that Frank would be incapable of accepting this horrible truth, so
I mean, yeah, like, also in that one clip where he just, like, talked to someone and there was no one there, you know, maybe that was, like, maybe he was depicting one of his kids, like, next to him. I don't know, maybe it was, like, Roderick, because I don't think I saw Roderick there. I don't know, he was probably mentally losing it after that happened, because he was also, like, his mind was, like, really messed up, he was freaking out over everything.
instead,
He was
he's
pretty
staying
sensitive.
in denial and imagining that the fire never actually happened
Yeah,
and that his
probably.
children are still alive.
Deny, deny, deny.
Got it. Deny, deny, deny.
The reason why Frank is fixating on the little differences in his house, like the bathroom lock being different, is because, in reality, he's actually already moved into an entirely new home after the fire. But he'd rather concoct a whole elaborate story about his children replacing the door than accept the truth.
I know that door had a lock on it.
Ooh, that could be true.
Also, remember that terrifying Manny deleted scene?
Tingy says you're going to have an accident.
Oh, yeah. I don't know what that means,
This scene
really.
makes no sense in the context
Yeah,
of this movie.
doesn't
but
really
with
make much
this
sense.
theory, it just fits so perfectly. This is a moment of truth sneaking into Frank's delusions. His subconscious is telling him about the accident, but he is completely unable to accept it.
The house burned down with everyone in it. Deny, deny.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that that is the real reason why Frank decided to create a diary pretending to be his son.
Yeah, 'cause probably the house burned down and he wanted to relive the memories, or he wanted to write his thoughts, or he wanted to, like, recreate it, and just in some type of way.
So that he could continue to remain in denial about his
Yeah.
death forever. I told you it would all click together. It's possible
It does
Greg
click
did
together.
actually have his own diary at some point, and now Frank is just continuing it.
Yeah,
But
I think
either
that's
way,
what it is.
I think that the books that we are reading are a strange denial fantasy that Frank is writing to cope with his son's death. This also gives a whole new
True.
meaning to why Frank is so protective over the basement in these books. The basement is
Oh,
where Frank
yeah.
works on his Civil War dioramas, and he's really strict about not wanting anyone to go down there. But maybe, even in his fantasy, Frank actually wants to keep his kids away from the basement that caused all of this.
Yeah, he probably just wants to keep them away from the basement, knowing the accident and everything happened, like, after the thing burned down. Maybe he just doesn't want anyone to go in the basement after that. Like, he's traumatized, you know what I mean? Like, he really doesn't want it.
There's also this moment at the end of the Roderick Rules movie where Frank realizes his entire family is no longer sitting with him.
This roller skating kid is really good. Don't you think that is good?
Yeah, that's what I was referring
And
to.
people like to joke about how Frank is realizing his entire family is dead or whatever, which doesn't exactly line up with my fire theory since Susan and Manny would still be alive. But if Frank has turned the loss of their children into a fictional best-selling franchise for money, then I could totally see Susan divorcing him and taking Manny. I mean, she was very much depicted as someone who believes in honesty.
True.
To me, and you know how I feel about that.
So
Yeah, she likes honesty a lot, and if Frank was lying about being Greg in a journal for money, that would be a cause for, like, a divorce or a breakup, and then he would be all alone, and he was imagining the family all together again.
I think this scene actually works really well with this theory.
Don't you think that
You're going to have an accident.
Whether or not you agree with every part of this theory, you have to admit there's a lot of really compelling connections.
That's
here,
true. There's a
and
lot of
it offers us
connections.
a very tragic new way to read these books. Nothing of what we see in these diaries is the full truth. It's a
I don't think I'm ever gonna be able to view the Diary of a Wimpy Kid again, man. I mean, just knowing that this theory could be true, I don't think I could ever like be like, oh yeah, that is Greg. He's writing this. He is the one writing this journal. This is his thoughts. I'm always going to perceive it as it's the father reliving the memories of his dead son.
Combination of both Frank's true memories of his son and fictional ones he's created to keep the lie
Exactly.
going.
That's the only way I'm going to view it.
Books as more than just Frank and Greg. They're a weird amalgamation of them both. In a sense, these books are the story of Freg.
Freg?
Wait a second.
Fregley.
Oh, what the fuck?
Wait!
Fregley has never felt like a real person. We never actually learn anything about him beyond the fact that he is this weird, inhuman, freaky kid who's always around.
Wanna see my secret freckle?
I'll sign it, Greg Heffley, if you let me look at your infection.
What if that's because he was never actually real? He was only
Oh my
something
God.
made up for the diary. What if Fregley is actually a symbolic representation of both Frank and Greg? You have to admit that their canon full names, Franklin and Gregory, sound a whole lot like Fregley when combined, because he is
Oh
a
my
representation
God!
of the dark truth that Greg is actually dead and Frank is pretending to be.
Wow.
It's why Fregley is depicted as this weird,
This
kind
is
of
insane.
disgusting kid, because deep down, Frank is disgusted with himself for what he is doing, and this disgust and shame manifests in the diaries as Fregley. It's why in both the books and the movies, Greg is mistaken for Fregley.
Hi, Ollie. Oh, hi, Fregley. Thanks, Fregley.
Why does Fregley have a secret language? Because Greg has a secret language.
Wait.
Why does Fregley want to show his secret freckle? Maybe because Greg also recently discovered a new freckle. And what does Fregley do in the town talent show? He's a ventriloquist speaking for his puppet.
Say hello to the boys and girls, Freggers. Hello, boys and girls.
Just like the way Frank speaks for Greg. And finally, remember the Devil Worshipper Wood story? This was the story that first hinted about Greg's accidental house fire. What does Greg actually find when he goes there?
Guys?
Fregley, because Fregley represents the dark truth in Diary of a Wimpy Kid, and that is my theory. Thank you very much, Zooey Mama. And that's the last time I'll ever do a they were dead the whole time theory ever again. No more. Right?
You'll be dead at homeschool by the end of the year anyway.
You're not even gonna make it out of there alive.
You're dead.
That might be one of my favorite videos I've reacted to so far. That was deadass amazing. I loved like how I could just piece together the whole video at the end. Like it all just added up throughout and I could just combine the theory. Like I learned so much about that and added up, it actually made sense. It's probably not a true theory, but the fact that it could be true is what I find so interesting about it. But anyways, that was a great video by Alex Bale. That'll be down in the description. But have a great day / night. Okay.